This week, our heroes talk all about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, on the super spoiler-heavy episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. Spoilers, did I mention there would be spoilers? Welcome to this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. I'm Dan, and you can find me at RFS Dan.
And I'm Jess, and you can find me at Gone to the Snow Dogs and Snow Dogs Vlogs.
Today, guys, we are talking about Star Wars. We're both just fresh off the last movie of the saga. Oh my gosh, this feels so weird to say that. When they announced that there was going to be a new trilogy, I was like, we have 10 years of Star Wars. Like, let's bask in it, and it's going to be great, and spin-off movies. And now it's almost over.
Do you really think it's over, though? I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's over. I think that era of Star Wars is over, but yes. I don't think Disney is done milking this. I think now it's going to be the side stories and the different stories from different parts of the Star Wars universe.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Over.
No,
I mean, yes.
Over from what I signed up for what you and I signed up for when they announced 3 more movies, plus a Boba Fett movie, plus a Han Solo movie, plus I don't know what other movies that they promised us in the beginning. Like I signed up for that. I'm like, I'm invested, and that is closed. I have no idea what's happening next. Like I don't even know what their next phase is.
I don't either. I think Disney's kind of disappointed in how things have turned out with them purchasing the Star Wars franchises.
You think so? Because did they make all their money back already?
I think they made all their money back, but I don't think it's been what they want it to be, like with Galaxy's Edge and how they're trying to like promote all these different Star Wars things. I don't know that I don't think it's worked out the way they thought it was going to.
It's hard. I love pizza, but man, you guys have given me a lot of pizza all at once after having lots of years of no pizza at all. So I get it.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the issue. Like, it just was too much too fast. I mean, yeah, these last couple of movies were spread out, but then there was side movies in between, and like, I don't know, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in all at one time.
It did,
even though it wasn't really all at one time.
Every year we were getting one. With even when George released the first 3 movies, there was still a lot of years in between each one of those movies. It wasn't a every year schedule like it was this time.
Yeah, it was quite a few years. Well, it took a lot longer to make them back then too.
that is a lot. That is true. It took a long time to render all those bad droid scenes. So what did you think?
I knew you were going to ask me first, and you weren't going to tell me what you thought first.
Would you like my thoughts first?
No. First off, do you think we're going to agree or disagree?
I think we're gonna agree.
Are we going to have differing opinions?
I hope so, but I think we're gonna probably agree fundamentally on things, because I did go off on my friend Gavin when I got out of the movie theater, and since then I've had 48 hours to reflect on my thoughts, and maybe my opinions changed a little bit.
Yeah. So, did you like the first one of this series? Did you like The Last Jedi?
Well,
not the
was it The Force Last Awakens?
The Force Awakens.
I absolutely love The Force Awakens. I had the greatest time. I am a little derpy, so I did not see the tie-in. How everybody says it's an exact remake of Star Wars: A New Hope. I had so much fun. I fell in love with Rey 3 minutes in as soon as she put on that fighter helmet. I was in. Finn was great. Poe was super charming. I was happy. BB-8 was unoffensive.
I love BB-8.
the end, like, because I thought I thought Luke was gonna be in it, and did we even see him at the end? I think we see his back, and then it cuts to, it wipes the credits, and it was amazing. I love seeing stuff in the daylight. That's my favorite part of Star Wars, is anytime they're in the daylight. I don't like the space. I love to see how good the CG is in the light. I love the scene where Finn was trying to take off in a TIE fighter, and the chain was stuck on it, and the TIE fighter was moving weird. Like, it was cool. Did you like it?
I did. I liked that one a lot. I liked The Force Awakens a lot. And then The Last Jedi, like, I know a lot of people really, really, really hated it.
I didn't hate it, and I wasn't a fan.
I didn't hate it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I didn't get the same feeling as I did with the first one. Like, I felt like, I don't know, it was just so, it wasn't what I expected. Not that it should have been what I expected, because, you shouldn't really be able to predict what the movie is, but it wasn't it just didn't feel right in certain ways. But I still liked it. I've still watched it multiple times. I still liked it. And then this one, I have to say, I walked away going, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good way to end it. I thought they did a good job. I feel like it was fairly in line with the Star Wars universe and fairly in line with what Star Wars represents. It felt, the only thing that I don't like is I feel like they could have made 2 more movies.
They did condense it pretty well at the end, which we all knew that's what was going to happen because JJ took it back over. He should have just run all 3 movies. If JJ Abrams would have just done all 3 movies, I think everything would have been good. This movie, I think he did a lot to make points to not erase, but to refix the stuff in the middle movie, like of the Last Jedi.
Yeah, The Last Jedi. So, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and then...
Yeah, JJ should have just ran it all. And I like, okay, look, and I'll say too, I like the movie. Like that was fine. They have a hard time figuring out what the heck the Force is. I think it's overpowered. We're pulling ships out of skies at a young Jedi age, which is fine because I believed that Vader could do that. But also, like, how are you healing people with the Force? Like, really? Like, it's just a Control Z. It's just one big undo key. You could just undo anything with the Force. I need to know the rules of the Force before I'm going into the movies. Otherwise, I'm like, what's the point? Because anything goes at this point, Like, there's no direction on what the Force can and can't do.
Right. I agree with you there. I feel like there was the points in the movie where it was, well, if they can do that now, why couldn't they have done that? Why didn't they do that in the first movies or the second movie? Like, why is this just now a thing they've discovered? I do agree with you there. I did have those moments a few times where I was like, this doesn't feel, but again, it felt like they had to do it to make things make sense. I will say a lot of people said that they cried at the movie, and I don't think I did.
We'll get to that with me. We'll get to that with me in a little bit. Kind of, we're jumping ahead here, but
right.
But so I show up to the theater. I sat through 30 minutes of previews.
Yep, me too.
Did you sit through this preview where it was like a 10-minute straight movie of like a terrorist reenactment inside like an orchestra place?
No.
Oh my gosh. It was a 10-minute trailer that we watched, and it was for this movie that was, it seemed dull, but it started out, they're like in an orchestra, like you went to go see like the Philharmonic Orchestra, I have no idea if those words are right, play, and the terrorists come in, and the good guys are trying to come in, and I'm all stoked to see Star Wars, and I'm watching 10 minutes of another movie, and I was really turned off by that before the movie started. I think everybody in the theater was kind of squirming of like, this is not what we signed up for. We didn't sign up for guns shooting and people dying. It was very graphic for a movie trailer that lasted 10 minutes.
That wasn't that 1917 one, was it?
Oh, no. It was called 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I
No, you guys
that.
probably got 1917 instead. Did you get Top Gun 2?
Yeah, we got Top Gun 2.
Oh my gosh, could you tell me what that movie was about? Because it had no plot line. It was just Tom Cruise flying planes in circles.
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So we sit through a bunch of credits. I guess what it does is it dulls you so that you get super excited for Star Wars.
Well, that's how theaters make a lot of their money nowadays, too. They get paid to play those ads and those previews before the movies by the movie companies. So even though we're going there and we're paying money for a ticket and we're paying $30 for popcorn and pop, they're making money showing us those ads, kind of like YouTube. Like those are the pre-roll ads. They make money off of those. You have to sit through them and watch them, which I get, I understand. But a full 30 minutes straight of nothing but previews was hard.
I was almost out of $7 popcorn.
Yeah, us too.
Oh my gosh. So one time I watched this little mini documentary on what happens at movie theaters, and you only get part of the profit. So like if you want Star Wars at your movie theater, it's such a big movie that they will not give you one dime of every ticket sold, but you'll sell concessions. And then maybe after 6 weeks in, you'll get 50 cents of every ticket sale. And then as it goes, you'll get more monies. The lower the budget movie, the more ticket margin you get right up front. So there's a lot of these places that do not, your theater may not have made a dime off of any ticket sales at the theater, but only in ads and $10 popcorn, which mine was good. I give myself a stomachache every time I eat popcorn at the movie theaters. Oh my gosh, so much popcorn. So
you got to get that $7 worth.
I know, right? Yeah, so we're sitting there, we're eating popcorn. I had comfortable seats. You know what? I was really amazed that I was able to buy tickets for Star Wars 48 hours before it started at the IMAX, and we had great seats.
Did you see it in 3D?
No, I opted deliberately for 2D. I am not a 3D fan.
Yeah, same. We did ours in 2D as well.
Yeah, except for you guys had a tiny little projection screen.
Yeah, I think my TV's bigger than that.
It is. You sent a picture. I don't know how I saw a picture. I don't know. I think you sent it to me, right? You sent me a picture inside the movie theaters, and I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that's how big our theater is. I think it probably fits 40 people.
Is it just flat?
People?
Is it just flat on the ground, or does it go up in the back? Like, is it even?
No,
on an
it does
incline?
go up in the back. It is on an incline, so no matter where you sit, you can see the screen. But for Pete's sake, no matter where you could sit, you can see the screen anyway because it's only 20 feet in front of you.
Can you hear the projector going like?
No, but the sound is horrible. My sound bar is louder. I listen to music louder in my car. And there's no bass, so it's like you're watching Star Wars, but you don't feel anything.
Oh no, that was one of my biggest pluses of going to see it. Where we sat, Blake and I sat underneath some sort of where the bass box was, and it had amazing bass. It was all rumbly and tingly when the Falcon would go by. It was awesome.
Yeah, we got none of that.
Dave, I'm sorry.
None of that.
I'm sorry. So when you go to the theater, what do you buy?
We usually, see, our theater doesn't have a whole lot. They do have popcorn and pop, but they don't have a whole lot of like other food items. I think they now have the pretzels you can get, and they have candy, of course. Right. We usually just buy popcorn and pop just because we have one of those. And this year, I don't even know why we got it. Jamie and I had the conversation before we left. We're like, we'll get the bucket again, and then maybe we'll go see some other movies because like I kind of want to take my friend to go see Cats, and I have to go back and see Star Wars again with Greg. So I'm like, we'll just get a bucket and we'll get our money's worth out of it. When we left, we're like, we shouldn't have bought a bucket. We'll never go back to this theater again. This is ridiculous. But at the same time, it is an AMC theater in Gaylord. So if we do want to go see a movie bad enough, we can always take our bucket over there. So it kind of was worth it. But we always just get popcorn and pop. But we got the big $20 bucket that you can fill up for $4 every time you go.
Everybody at home already wants to know who makes the better popcorn, the movie theater or Jamie?
I'm telling you, it's Jamie makes it better. He makes it better. Whatever he does, the way he makes ours, it's not as, I don't know. One, it's not as chewy, like stick in your teeth popcorn. Ours is just, I don't know. Whatever he does, it tastes almost identical, but it's still better.
I was analyzing our popcorn because Blake and I went. We got sodas and popcorn, and I noticed it was soggy on top because they put all the butter there on the top. And like they need to do like a scoop of popcorn, a little bit of butter, a scoop of popcorn, a little bit of butter, and then but they don't care. The kids are like, "How can I help you, sir?" And I'm just like, "Oh, one of your finest popcorns, please." So I get why it could be soggy on top. For a while, the popcorn was amazing until it wasn't.
Don't you guys have a butter station?
No, they have it behind. Somebody abused a butter station years ago, I guess, because they're built in behind the scenes.
See, ours used to be back there, but now we have an actual butter station. When you get your popcorn, you can walk around the corner, and that's where all the napkins are. They used to have like all the flavoring things there as well, but they didn't have that anymore.
We don't have any flavoring things. That's extra.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the movie starts. I'm stoked. I can't wait. I'm excited for... I don't even know what to expect, but for some reason, I expect mediocrity. Like, I don't expect to be blown away. I know Abrams had to slide in here and try to, like, fix the last movie a little bit, if you will. And
I was really excited. We went with my mom and dad and my brother and his wife. So, we always try to make it like a family thing when we go. Mm-hmm. I watched Star Wars because of my dad. I remember watching Star Wars as a kid with my dad over and over and over and over. So, like, it means a lot to be able to go there and see the movie with him, especially, like, the first time we see it. I want it to be with my dad. Like, now Jamie and I can go to Traverse City and see it in the IMAX theater and actually have the experience, but I needed the first time to be with my dad and my mom and my family. So I was really excited. I was excited to see how my dad reacted to the movie more than anything else. I wanted to know, like, what did he think?
Yeah, because we were kids when the first 3 movies came out. I was 5 when I went and saw Return of the Jedi, and I only have flashes of that. And
I was 4.
He was like rocking and rolling, man. He was like in the 70s. He probably had some sideburns,
right?
Living his life,
right?
Yeah,
I did see that one in the theater.
Did you?
Yeah, I was 4.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. See, and do you have flashes of it all?
Yeah.
So
I remember the screen being really big.
Yes.
Like, I remember bits and pieces of it. But Star Wars has been a part of my life my whole life.
Yeah. I still have my Star Wars toys. You guys saw on the live stream the other day. I still have original Star Wars toys from when I was a child.
Right.
So we're watching the movie. I'm super excited. I don't know what to expect. I'm looking for all the cameos because there's so many cameos in the movie.
You mean like the director being one of the voices in the movie?
Who, J.J. Abrams?
Yeah.
I heard there was a lot of voices. Kevin Smith was supposed to be a voice. J.J. Abrams, I guess you said.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I mean, but I don't know what he sounds like. He looks like a nerd, so I don't know what he sounds like.
You wouldn't know it was him. He voiced Dio.
Oh, the worst ever. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on that thing. What was that hairdryer with the wheel on it?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I knew there was trouble when I went to the Target like a couple weeks ago before the movie came out, and there was literally a hairdryer on a wheel. I'm like, this is what they're pushing for a droid now?
But it's so cute. I love how when they make droids like that, like they did the same thing with BB-8. They remind me of like the way puppies move.
Yes, in the first movie he did. Now he's just got a bunch of attitude.
Now he's an older puppy.
Is that what it is? It's in the attitude stage?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I was like, I'm not sure what's going on with this hairdryer thing. It really didn't have any significance except for it held the data, but like anybody could have held that. R2 could have.
True. Like I said, I feel like they could have made 2 movies out of this because it was really rushed.
Right.
But they had to tie up all the loose ends.
They didn't have much time to tie up all the loose ends either. And some of them didn't even get tied up. There was so much stuff that they left open-ended that I just don't understand.
Right.
What happened to Rose? Rose was such a big part of the last movie. And in this movie, she didn't I thought her and maybe Finn were going to have some sort of love thing going on. I didn't know, but they definitely had a connection at the end of the last movie. And in this movie, she just gets explained away of like, oh, I have to do some routine maintenance checks over here. I'll see you guys at the end of the movie. I don't even know if we saw her at the end.
Yeah, we saw her at the very end. She was at the very end.
Yeah, so she was just written away, which they opened up a big can of worms last movie and expected 120 minutes to close it up in this movie.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that was going to happen. So she got explained away. There was parts I did love, though. I wanted to know how they were going to handle Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
And it's weird because her daughter's in the movie.
Yeah.
I know you're going to go see it again later today, so you'll have to report back to me and let me know if, like, was she one of the ones, because it was kind of blurry to me, was she one of the ones standing there next to Leia when the sheet was over her and they were like, oh my gosh, she's not there? Was she, because there's a girl that's standing over closer to her head, where her head would be. And I think it was her. I think it was Lieutenant Connix. And I was just like, dang, that's kind of like meta. And nobody talks about this. I haven't seen any, like reports or any of like, oh my gosh, check out how like life imitates art here, or however that goes, because her actual daughter is standing here at her death scene in the movie.
I was really like, I had a hard time when, especially, like right in the beginning of the movie, there she is. I had a hard time with processing how much of it was filmed before she passed away, and how many of these scenes were like, did they use a voice actor that sounded like her for some of the scenes where you don't see her face so that they could make it work? I did feel like a few of those scenes felt a little off. Like, I don't know, and maybe it was because I was overlooking it, because I'm like, okay, I know she's passed away and I know they recorded some of this ahead of time, so they couldn't have put her here and done this, and how did they make this work? Like, I feel like I was overthinking it and overanalyzing a few of those sections of the movie.
I believe some of them were from the first movie that got left out. I think Rey with her sitting crisscross with all the rocks going around her and then Leia talking to her. I believe that was completely filmed before she passed.
Yeah.
I think that stuff was done, but some of it was a little odd, like they weren't making eye contact.
Yes, yeah.
And then
that was hard.
Clearly, when they were talking about Jedi training and the mask lifts up and it's Leia, that was 100% CG.
Yes.
And
but I think that was the
Mark
only
Hamill
CG
too.
Yes, and I think those are the only times, because they said they wouldn't make her CG, but I think they meant they wouldn't like replace her in the movie as a CG character.
Yeah, this isn't Fast and the Furious.
I did appreciate how they rounded off the story with her. I appreciated the fact that, I don't know, I feel like there was so many different ways that could have went, and I feel like the way that it went down was like, I don't know. Well, one, it was very much Star Wars-y. And two, I don't know, there was something just kind of like really powerful about it. And I liked it. I liked that this was her. It was almost like them sending her off, you know, even though she's already passed away. It was like them acknowledging the fact that she's actually gone in real life and letting her go in the movie like this. I don't know. I liked it. As weird as that is.
I had a hard time throughout this whole trilogy wrapping my head around these actors that played characters that I loved when I was young. I just don't buy. Harrison Ford looked awful. I'm sorry, guy. I'm not trying to be mean. Harrison Ford looked awful. He had his cameo in there. Nobody combed his hair. That was not Han Solo. That was ridiculous.
But it's not supposed to be Han Solo from, 30 years ago. It's supposed to be Han Solo from now. So, of course, he's older and he looks rough. I mean, he's not supposed to be, even, Luke, Mark Hamill, he's older. That's what he looks like. Like, it's people age. They don't stay the same.
He was the only one that I bought because I love him so much as an actor. And I've always thought he was so underrated. Carrie Fisher was not. I did not see one tiny bit of Princess Leia in her at all.
Right.
At all.
Right.
I had a hard time getting past her denture lisp. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to be mean. I couldn't do it. I couldn't deal with Lando. I couldn't. No, you expect me to believe that he's nimble and running around and still, I don't know, he was on this machine. I didn't buy it. I didn't like any of them. Their acting was clunky. This is so bad to say. Yes, okay. I didn't like any of them. I didn't even like R2-D2 in the series, to be honest. I didn't. And 3PO, don't even get started on him. Like, he was all right. He was just being 3PO, but R2 is useless. The old stuff just needs to go.
Well, but I mean, that's how they tied it into this. And that's why I'm wondering if, like, even though this saga has ended, like, if there will be another Star Wars trilogy that will have nothing to do with these characters of Star Wars. Yeah, I think so too. I think 5 years down the road, a couple years down the road, when we're all like, wow, we miss Star Wars again, maybe even 10 years, Disney's going to be like, well, here you go. Here's a whole bunch more.
I'm just a little scared because I believe the next trilogy was given to Weiss and Benioff, the two people that were in charge of Game of Thrones that ended that one very, very sadly. If you guys know my Game of Thrones rants, those guys are running the next trilogy.
Yeah.
So who knows what they're going to start and then be enticed by another project and not care about their current project and just end it real quick so they can hurry up and get to the next project.
Right.
So I hope they don't ruin it. But there's no way. Well, I guess that you could have the further adventures of Rey, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm jumping ahead. So let's go back to the movie real quick. There was a scene in the movie, and I know we're just jumping around, where Chewbacca foolishly gets caught. This is so out of character. It's like, hey, Rey's out there. Go get her. Dude, you go get her. Like, what do you, why? Right? She's fine. She's more Jedi than all you guys. And so Chewie goes out there. He gets caught. Rey goes out there, and Kylo shows up. And they're back and forth in this weird force thing that they have. And these weird high school moments. I don't know how to process that through all the other movies and stuff, since this is an option now that you can kind of just like will your and they're so good at the Force.
Yeah, they're ridiculously good.
So that love story was going on. They're there, they're both pulling, and it's funny if you were to hit mute on the theater and watch them just make grunty noises and struggle as they're just pulling at the camera and you see nothing. So they're both pulling at, I guess, the ship. They're not pulling at each other. They're both pulling at this ship.
Yeah.
And if they're so force sensitive, they should know that Chewie's not on the ship.
Unless they were clouded, because there's, you have to remember, when they don't have a clear mind, they don't think clearly. So in the moment, with their minds clouded, they weren't thinking clearly.
How did you feel when it exploded? Were you like, oh my gosh, Chewie's dead because it's the end of the movies? Or were you like, no?
I honestly, I think a lot of people thought he was. And the first thing I thought was, that's not how they're going to off him in the movie. That was the first thing that went through my head, was that's not what they're going to do.
I was wondering about that because they have one chance to do a crappy send-off where they're like, wow, that character went through 40 years of my life and they ended it like this. So I was hoping that would happen. When he exploded, I'm like, finally, we're almost done with this old cast. Can we go grab Lando real quick and just end this all and move on? Because in my mind, I wanted this, and now that I got it, I don't want it anymore. It was just so clunky. So I thought Chewie was dead, and I was like, cool. I was like, well, it probably smelled like hair, so...
When the lightning came out of her, did you have the moment of thought, what did you think? Did that affect you in any way?
I had no clue. I did not put two and two together until after the movies, when I think somebody else mentioned it, and I'm like, that's right. But I played a lot of video games where I'm running around on the light side, and Force lightning is one of my options, so I wasn't too concerned. You know what I thought? This is just another thing that they're just gonna go ahead and write in about the Force. Like, why not? Why not at this point?
I kind of had the thought of, because they named the movie Rise of a Skywalker or whatever. Mm-hmm. I kind of had the thought that in that moment that they were gonna make her turn to the dark side, and that Kylo was gonna end up killing her in the end. Like that moment in the movie made that theory probable.
Oh,
like this could actually happen, because when I saw that, I immediately thought of Palpatine, and I immediately remember, you go back to all the other movies, and I remembered that, and I'm like, what if? And then if Chewie had actually been on the ship and she killed him, and then she thought she killed him, and then she, basically like what happened with Anakin, so much hurt and pain and anger, and then she turns, and in the end, Kylo, kills her. I kind of had that like theory.
Really?
Like, what if this is the way it ended? Yeah, because it could have happened.
Oh, yeah, I know. It could have. No way. Mine was so much more cleaner. Rise of Skywalker. Rey was gonna win, and Ben was gonna be by her side, and everything was gonna be good. I had no. Palpatine's dead. Anakin threw him over the railings to end that series. He's dead. I had no idea that they were gonna have Star Wars fatigue and go back into the well and bring back this funky, mutated, bloated looking, unexplained Palpatine. Hey, good job to the actor though. He's been around. Ian McDiarmid, good job. He was good through all the first three too. I mean, like when I say the first three, I mean like the ones that Lucas made at the end. Way to go, way to get more work. But oh my gosh, really? This is what we're going for? And you explain away Plagueis just like that?
Right?
Yeah, when he's like, I did all the puppet strings. I'm like, no. I was not happy.
I did have that moment of, like I said, that thought where I'm like, it's going to end, and it's going to be Kylo that's going to be at the end. But
I didn't think he was going to be because it's about Kylo, right? Like the Rise of Skywalker is Kylo, right? Going back to Ben, or is it Rey at the end denouncing her name and becoming a Skywalker?
I think it's Rey at the end.
I feel like it's Ben coming back and redeeming himself to become.
But Ben's not a Skywalker technically. No, technically, he's a Solo. Yeah, Jamie and I had that same conversation. I'm like, but he's not a Skywalker. He's a Solo.
That's true, but you don't know what went on between.
But she's also not a Skywalker. She's a Palpatine.
Yeah, you don't know what went on Alderaan. Yeah. Okay. So she's a Palpatine, which is unexplained. They didn't explain the parents. First of all, Palpatine's hooking up,
right?
I get it. I get it if you're like running the galaxy. Like, I guess at one point, but like, what about Rey's parents? Who helped them? Who helped them escape? Was Rey's parents Force sensitive? Why is she light and not dark?
Right.
I don't know these things. So I'm confused. I saw the lightning come out of her fingers. I'm like, cool, Jedis are doing their thing again. That was fun. She had a limit break, like in Final Fantasy. You build your limit and you have a limit break. That's what was happening. But I never put two and two together. Even after they showed rehashed Palpatine, I never thought that she was going to be related to any degree.
Right. And maybe that's why they twisted it that way, because most people wouldn't have caught on to that. That was one of the early theories when the first movie came out. There were a few theories.
I've never heard the word Palpatine in any of this.
There were very few. It was not a popular theory, but I was looking last night, and there were actually a few theories of that.
Wow. See, I had no idea.
But I think at this point, people are just guessing.
That's true.
They were like, we just need an answer.
My favorite guess was that she was secretly a Skywalker, and maybe Mark Hamill was like, or maybe Luke Skywalker was like cloning for better Jedis or something, and maybe she was a clone, because I know they love the clone stuff. I did not think that it was going to be Palpatine. But what does that do for the storyline? Like, Does that make it now so they can kiss? Is that what's going on? Are we just trying to get to the kiss? Is this Twilight?
So in our theater, at that moment when that happened, there was a little kid all the way in the back of the theater, and as soon as they kissed, he goes, I don't even remember what he said. Yay! He cheered, and everybody in the theater started laughing. It was like the best moment ever of this little kid just being like, oh, yay!
Fan service. Look, okay, and here's the thing. And most of the audience went like, ugh! And
you didn't see that happening?
I didn't understand that whole scene, and that's at the end of the movie. So hold on, if there's anything else I need to get to before I get to the scene that's just going to aggravate the heck out of me, nope. Let's get to this scene. Palpatine pushes him away. Okay, first of all,
what about Babu Frick? Babu Frick, you were okay with Babu Frick?
What was that? Was that the thing on the Millennium Falcon in the beginning of the movie to sell more toys? What was that thing that was running the Millennium Falcon? They're like, hey, sludge thing. All systems go.
The guy that wiped or reprogrammed C-3PO.
Oh yeah, what the heck? What the heck was that? And then
I liked how they're like, his memory's gonna be gone, and then it lasted 10 minutes in the movie before R2's like, here, have most of your memories back.
Right, have some of your memories all the way back to A New Hope back. Like, he got a second chance on life. He's been through so much trauma. He's been taken apart. If you remember in Jedi, he spent half the movie on Chewie's back.
Right.
So he got a free chance at life again. His memory's been wiped. All good 3PO. Yeah, that part was like, man, that was 7 minutes that we could have spent elsewhere.
And then at the last second, C-3PO was, wait, I have another idea.
Yeah. And they just offed him.
I hear Jamie fan theory.
But he was saying at the end, or when they were reprogramming C-3PO, how like right before they did it, 3PO goes, wait, I have another idea, and they pulled the plug anyway.
Yes. And there was a bunch of those that made me uncomfortable. And one was Poe. No, I'm sorry. One was Finn trying to tell Rey something throughout the whole movie.
Yes, and then they never got to it.
They never got to it. Okay, so since you've seen the movie, have you listened to anybody else's opinion on it, or are you still only contained within the knowledge you have?
I made sure not to like really listen to even the articles I was looking up last night. If any of it was like more opinion based on the movie, I didn't read it because I wanted us to be able to do this Star Wars spoiler podcast. I thought this was a really good idea. So I tried not to beforehand. I'm like, all right, I don't want any other input. And plus, like I said, I have to go see it again with Greg. So I'm trying not to get a whole bunch of, because I don't want to like accidentally say something to him like, oh, make sure you pay attention to this or look for this. I don't want to ruin it for him either. So after tonight, when I get back, then I can do stuff.
I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I listen to Rebel Force Radio, which is a podcast that is super dialed in. They watched the movie, they were doing minute updates, they were breaking down things. So I have a lot of information that is not my Star Wars knowledge. It's their Star Wars knowledge. So I kept forgetting that Finn kept trying to tell Rey something. After the movie was over, I didn't think about it too much, and then I was like, what happened? And then I came home and I started Googling, I listened to other podcasts, I was trying to figure it out, and it was never answered.
No, it
so
never
it wasn't
was.
Just me. What do you think was? What do you think was what he was gonna say?
I don't know, because I thought he had a thing with Rose, but I think he also has a thing with Rey. But I also felt like there was like he could sense certain things. So like maybe he, I don't know, like maybe he had a little bit of the Force in him. I don't know. I really don't know.
Nobody with Star Wars knowledge thought it was Finn trying to tell Rey that he liked her. The consensus from everybody was that Finn was trying to tell Rey that he was Force sensitive.
And I think he is, because there were so many things in the movie that were like he knew where she was, and like he knew when she was, he could sense so many things about her.
Yes.
So I felt like there was a lot of that, and that may have been what he was trying to tell her, or he may have been trying to tell her, I love you, but he may have been trying to tell her, I love you as a friend. Like he may have been, like, I don't know, and they never answered it, and we'll never know it. It's all up to ourselves to imagine out the net until they make another movie.
Finn was the character the most in Star Wars that I thought was a mess. They did not know what to do with him. He did not get what he deserved, and I agree that Finn was going to tell Rey that he was Force sensitive. I don't think there was a love story there. I wish this would have come up in the first movie, so that way we watch this play out through another movie where it didn't pay off, and then maybe paid off this movie. When we saw him with a lightsaber, he has something. But man, poor Finn. Poor Finn, in my opinion, did not get what he deserved in the whole saga.
No, not really.
I love Poe Dameron. Oscar Isaac was amazing. Like, way to go. Way to try to be the new Solo. We found out he was a spice runner. You got to get that spice, man.
I do. I really like him. I really like him as a character. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting going back to see it tonight because I just saw it yesterday. So now tonight I'll be able to like analyze everything and be like, wow, I missed this, or, you know, blah, 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 blah. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I know we're picking this apart and we're all over the place here, but I had a great time seeing Star Wars. And so the end happens and the CG was great. I was happy with the CG. I was happy with what was going on. And so Palpatine's like, strike me down, take my stuff. And I'm like, that sounds like a good plan. Like, you don't have to be bad with all this new Empire stuff. You could do what you want. You can repaint the walls. And then she's like, no, but then she ends up beating him up anyway. But I guess it was on her terms. Is that?
Yeah, he didn't I think that's what it was, because it wasn't out of hate and anger and suffering that she did it.
I mean, she was mad and she suffered and there was a lot of hate and anger.
But
so maybe
I don't think it was the same. I don't think it was him really convincing her to do it.
And one of the things I miss is Kylo and then poor Knights of Ren, which the Knights of Ren is a big deal. It is not just squished down into 2 minutes of screen time. There's like books and series of the Knights of Ren. And so Kylo fights his way over to Rey and Palpatine. And Palpatine, it's blurry in my head. Does he just push Kylo Ren off the edge? Or why was he so badly damaged?
Because he forced him off the edge and he fell down into that big crevice.
And that hurt him? Was it off screen that he got fatally hurt?
Well, it was all rocky and it was a big crevice, so he probably bounced down it.
Is that what happened?
I think so, yeah.
So he comes crawling back, and I did not expect him to, like, he should not have died. I did not see anything that would have killed him. Rey just, like, stabbed a hole through him and then undid the stab, and he was alive. So he comes crawling out of the hole. Rey's holding him. I thought they were going to be okay. They kissed. That's fine. As long as the next scene is them, like, getting up and, like, going off into the sunset together. I didn't think he was going to die.
I did. Jamie said the same thing. I'm like, Jamie said that, I told him, I'm like, I saw that happening. I knew that was happening. Because you can't give that much life force to somebody and not have a consequence for it. He gave his life to her so she could live on. Because she was gone. Like, she was dead. She had what she had to do, and that took everything out of her, and she died. And he had to give everything he had to her so she could live.
Was that the takeaway? He gave
his life for her. Yeah.
Why? They didn't even get along. They were on. They might have even swiped left if they saw each other. There was not that much chemistry there. How do you fall in love with this person? Why did they kiss? They should have not have kissed there.
I don't know. See, I saw that
to kiss.
I saw that throughout the whole series.
The tension?
Yeah. Yeah, I did through the whole series. Which is why, and I think that's why I knew at the end there, when she was down and you knew she was dead or at the brink of death or whatever. Like, I feel like I knew that was what was going to happen. That was what had to happen. That was the only thing that made sense next.
He didn't bring her back to life?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, she was dead. She was either dead or on the brink of death. So he had to give everything he had to heal her. And by giving her everything he had, it took everything out of him.
I think maybe I'm upset because I'm okay with her killing him. I'm okay with anybody else that showed up for the last 2 movies killing him. But not this surprise, it's the Palps. I'm here, dog. And then he's the one that ultimately tried to kill Kylo,
but he tried to kill Kylo Ren, but he didn't kill Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren gave his life to save Rey. So nobody killed Kylo Ren. He killed himself, basically. He Romeo and Julieted it almost.
Did that absolve everything that he done? Like, now he's good and it's Ben, and Ben died? Or did he die? Or did he still die bad? Because at the end of the movie...
No, he died as Ben.
But at the end of the movie, I was confused when when Luke and Leia show up at the end of the movie in ghost form, and nobody else showed up with them. Where was Ben? Where was Kylo Ren at? Where was he at? Why wasn't he there in ghost form?
Where was Yoda? Where was Obi-Wan?
Where was Obi-Wan? Where was Hayden Christensen?
I don't think that was... I think it was because they were showing up for her. They were...
Ben should have been there.
Maybe.
Maybe putting his arm on his mom's shoulder. Maybe Luke Skywalker hugging it out real quick. Like, oh man, like that was a misunderstanding.
Maybe.
Nothing. There was nothing. Nothing at all.
It's got to leave you hanging. They can't give us all the answers.
We're done. And you know what I was scared of a little bit? I was scared of a Mandalorian tie-in.
I still think there's going to be a Mandalorian tie-in. I already told Jamie that. I'm like, there's going to be a Mandalorian tie-in. We're going to see Rey as a child. We're going to see... Because it's the right timing. Because the Mandalorian takes place after Return of the Jedi. So it takes place after episode 4, 5, and 6, but before 7, 8, and 9. I would put money on it today that we will see tie-ins from that movie. Maybe we'll see Finn as a child getting taken away from his family to go and be programmed as a stormtrooper. Maybe we'll see Poe Dameron. I 100% feel like The Mandalorian will have moments where they're going to tie into this movie.
I never thought about it till now. You're probably right.
It makes sense. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they keep people involved by bringing that in? That's doesn't true. Make sense for them to not do it. Like, The Mandalorian is pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. Of course, I'm only on chapter 5. I need to finish it.
It's a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
I really, really enjoy it, but I told Jamie as soon as we started watching it, I'm like, this is going to tie in to episode 7, 8, and 9 because it's in between. So it has to. It would not make sense for Disney not to take advantage of that and show us the early lives of these characters that we've now come to love in 7, 8, and 9.
That's a very good point. I never thought about that till now. I've just been watching The Mandalorian as just some sort of side, Briscoe County Jr., Quantum Leap. Every episode we're going to have a new beginning and end with a little through thread of Baby Yoda here and there. I didn't think that there'd be like any real tie-ins to the main trilogy.
I think there will be. I really do. And I think the reason I think that is because why else would they put Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
They could have made any other character. They could have made a new little critter. They could have done anything they wanted, yet they decided to make a Baby Yoda.
Which was a
for
good
the
job.
Mandalorian. Good job. Good job.
Gosh,
sucked everybody in.
Baby Yoda. There's Baby Yoda alcohol drinks in my town. It's out of control. Which brings up another point. In Star Wars, there's always gonna have to be a good and a bad. And if Rey, and how did you feel about that ending? How did you feel about her going back to like Tatooine and going back to the plantation? That was I don't know. It was emotional. That was emotional. Like that was where I think I really realized that's it. It's over. That's where I had tears. I was angry at the kiss, and then I had tears when she was like setting up camp there. Right. I had tears when Carrie Fisher died. That was when I felt myself like I could cry. But it wasn't because she died. It's because I knew she was actually gone. Oh, right. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't because of the movie. It was more like because I knew she was actually gone. That's so, what sold it for you? Yeah. That was the moment where I felt like, I could cry. But even at the end, when she buries the lightsabers and all of those things, in front of the salesperson, that person's gonna come back and dig up those lightsabers. She made eye contact with that. She's coming back to get those. Nobody's been here for so long. But is this her fate? Is she gonna sit there and make Tegrity Farms? Is she just gonna start growing stuff and hanging out there? Well, I don't know, because they talk through all these movies how you have to bring balance and there has to be balance in the Force. Well, for there to be balance, doesn't there have to be good and bad? Yeah, it could have been Kylo. And then there's balance, and then I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. It ended very open to me. Yes. I did like seeing the two sons again. I haven't seen those, since A New Hope.
How they look just like BB-8.
Yeah, they did. And who got custody of BB-8? That was Poe's droid, right?
Yeah, it was Poe's droid.
He was all mad when Rey dropped the tree on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she got, they probably have joint custody.
Right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, holidays,
right?
Weekends and stuff. So the movie ends. I'm shocked. I sit there for a few minutes and Google if there's a credit scene. There's not. I leave the IMAX. And, I'm a good boy. I zipped my lips all the way to the car. And then try to process everything. It's over. That was so fast. That happened so fast.
It did. I think everybody in our group enjoyed it. I don't know. My dad still thinks it's pretty Disneyfied.
Yeah, it's a little Twilight-ish. I felt like it was really close and small. It was about Kylo and Rey, and I feel like the world felt so much bigger, and there felt like there was so many characters in like the old movies, and I felt like it was very much centered on just like Rey and Kylo, and it felt empty. It felt a little bit empty for a big universe.
And they had to like try to close out everybody, like bring in everybody from the first movies to like, here's the ends of their stories or for those moments. And it was only like, well, this is how this is gonna be. And here's Lando for 5 minutes. And here's even Han Solo comes back as a memory for a few minutes. Like I just feel like they were like, we have to get everybody in the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I'm excited to go see it again so I can analyze it again tonight. And then, of course, maybe Jamie and I will go see it in the IMAX theater in Traverse City for my birthday. I don't know because I haven't.
Pick a better birthday present.
Well, we were talking about going to Traverse City for the weekend anyway. So if we did that, we could maybe go do it. But I don't know.
See Cats.
I want to see Cats just because I want to see how bad it is.
Oh, man. Yeah. You heard all about the bad stuff on that movie, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I want to see it just so I can be like, wow, it was that bad.
Star Wars people should love Cats, though, because it was the only thing that out-Rotten Tomatoed Rise of Skywalker. Right. And I was looking at the Rotten Tomato reviews because people were unhappy, and it was what it was. It was Star Wars. We watched the show. It's over.
I wasn't unhappy. I wasn't unhappy, and I would watch it again.
I unfairly criticized everything to my friend Gavin, and now that I have time to process, I'm okay again. I'm okay. I liked Rey. I loved that she kicked butt through all the movies. I had the biggest crush on her. Daisy Ridley was awesome. But they did Finn such a disservice.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be awesome. I wanted him to be a Jedi.
Right.
I liked Finn, but the movie's over, and it was okay. Like I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes, and we'll go from like best to worst on the Rotten Tomato list for Star Wars. And obviously, at the top of Star Wars is The Mandalorian. That cannot do no wrong. That has a 94% approval rate on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow!
But the next big approval movie, what do you think it is?
Return of the Jedi.
No, Empire.
I figured it was one of those, either Return of the Jedi or Empire.
It was Empire. It was Empire, closely followed by 1 point with The Force Awakens, which is very surprising.
Wow.
Not even A New Hope beat those two out.
Wow.
Even The Last Jedi got a 91. Rogue One in 83. Jedi in 82. Sith 80. Oh, Solo, the project that got passed around.
Right.
Got a 70. And
That's
there
crazy.
you have the new Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, at a 57. There's only one movie that ranks below that in the Star Wars universe. Can you guess which one it is? Here, I'll give you a hint. Misa Ruin Saga.
Phantom Menace?
Mm-hmm. Phantom Menace got a 53, followed closely by a 57 for Rise of the Skywalker. Even Attack of the Clones got a 65. Oh my gosh, none of you guys at home can even tell me what happened in that movie.
There was clones and they got attacked.
Yeah. Snakes on a plane, purple lightsabers.
Snakes on a plane.
Count Dooku.
Yeah. Count Dooku.
So
the droid that can't breathe.
Right. I feel like looking back through all of this, I've still criticized it hard. I had a good time. Would you, if you could choose between not having those movies made and having those movies made, what would you choose?
I would still have them made.
Yeah, you were okay with these three?
I was more okay with these three than episode 1, 2, and 3. I wish they would have found better actors for episode 1, 2, and 3. I loved the stories of episode 1, 2, and 3. I loved how it brought things together in the beginning, but I hated the acting. Like, why did you pick a child that was not an actor? And why did you pick, the guy that played Anakin in the second two? The acting in that movie was horrendous.
It was pretty
George Lucas even said that the problem was he was surrounded by yes men, and every decision he made, people were like, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea." And then when he saw he said, when he saw the preview of the first movie, he knew it was horrible.
Yeah, open your eyes, bro.
Yeah, but
You're
it was too
director,
late. But he was surrounded by yes men. Everybody said, yeah. So he went with it. And then the second one, they did the same thing. So he just had really bad actors.
It was so movies. Bad. I won the pod race on Boonta Eve. Oh my gosh, that kid was out of control. And they already saw him, and he was already in Jingle All the Way. Like, you guys saw that he was not the best. And same with Hayden Christensen. Like, he was in Antitrust, and it wasn't very good. And you casted him.
Yeah, both of them, it was just bad.
What I loved about the original Star Wars is I didn't know anybody in it. I didn't know what a Harrison Ford was, or a Mark Hamill, or a Carrie Fisher. Don't cast people that I know in Star Wars. Don't put Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones. Don't put Nick Fury in Star Wars. Even this one had cameos by Dominic Monaghan. He was like Murray in Lord of the Rings. It's like, could you not put a Hobbit in my in my favorite movies? Could you not? So I wasn't happy that they casted people that I knew in the movie. Other than that, I was okay with everybody else.
Right. I'm excited to go see it again.
Good. And I'm curious to see if your opinions change at all after you go see the movie again.
Yeah, because you've had more time than me to process it. I literally watched it less than 24 hours ago.
I have, and I would only change a couple things. I would not. Kylo and Rey would either live happily ever after, or one would kill the other. I did not like it that somebody who got introduced late into the game is going to be the game changer. That did not sit well with me.
Right.
And I still need to know more about Rey's parents. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's a talking point forever. And I even though that there's open-ended questions, I really hope that the next trilogy just starts fresh.
Right.
Either that or Rey's got to turn bad. Either that or Rey's got to have her Sith come out. Ooh, I got my Sith on, and then she's bad again.
Which could happen.
It could. It just depends on what Weiss and Benioff want to do, and they've really let me down on Game of Thrones, so anything's possible. So that'll do it for the super mega Star Wars podcast episode. You guys can find us all over social media at CC Mouse Podcast. I like doing this, Jess. We should find another big franchise to go watch a movie of and report back on it.
Like Togo?
Oh, that's right. You have to watch Togo still, huh?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. Neither have you. We could do a whole bonus Togo episode.
Ooh, let's do that. All right, guys. So we'll see you guys next time. Same mouse podcast. Bye.
Bye.
We reviewed a thing.
We did review a thing.